You stand at a precipice, the twilight of your years, a seasoned warrior of faith. Yet a gnawing emptiness persists, a silent ache. You've fought battles, you've weathered storms, you've carried burdens that would crush lesser souls. You've whispered prayers in the dead of night. You've held on to hope when all seemed lost. You've offered your life, your heart, your everything to Him. But lately, something feels off, a disconnect, a growing sense of being overlooked, unseen, unheard. It's the sting of the casual dismissal, the polite nod that doesn't quite meet your eyes, the conversations that flow around you, leaving you stranded on an island of your own quiet wisdom. You offer a word, a piece of advice forged in the fires of experience, and it's met with a blank stare, a gentle pat on the hand. "That's nice, dear. Nice." As if your hard-won truths are mere pleasantries. You see the younger ones vibrant and full of their own fervent journeys. They're celebrated, their voices amplified. Their ideas, often untested, are met with eager ears. And you're left in the shadows. Your contributions, once vital, now seem to fade into the background noise of a world that rushes forward. This invisibility, it's a peculiar kind of pain, a slow erosion of self. You look in the mirror and see the lines etched by time, by worry, by love. But do others see the strength behind those lines, the resilience, the unwavering devotion, or do they just see old? It's the feeling of your wisdom gathering dust, like precious books on a forgotten shelf. You have so much to give, so much to share. Lessons learned through sacrifice, insights gained through long years of walking with the Lord. But the invitations dwindle. The calls become fewer. The sense of purpose, once a roaring fire, now flickers like a dying ember. You remember when your words carried weight, when your counsel was sought, when your presence commanded respect. Now, it feels like you're speaking into a void. Your voice, once a trumpet call, is now a whisper, lost in the wind. This is not about seeking validation, not about craving applause. This is about the soul's deep need to be acknowledged, to know that your journey, your walk with God has mattered, that your life has left an imprint. You've surrendered much to Him, your youthful dreams, your worldly ambitions, your very will. You've learned the beauty of letting go, the liberation in trusting His plan. But there's one surrender that remains, one final shedding required before you step fully into His embrace. And it's the hardest one. It's the surrender of this feeling of being unseen, this ache of invisibility, this silent plea to be noticed. It's the pain of feeling like your story is over, like the best chapters have already been written, and you're just flipping through the final pages waiting for the end. You've poured yourself into others, into family, into ministry, into the church. You've been the foundation, the steady hand, the quiet strength. And now, in your autumn years, you deserve to feel seen, to feel valued, to feel the echo of your impact reverberating through the lives you've touched. But the world is busy. The church is evolving. And sometimes, in that evolution, the elders, the pillars can be unintentionally left behind. Their voices, once so clear, can become muffled. Their experiences, once so revered, can be deemed outdated. This is not a complaint. It is an honest reckoning. A raw confession from a soul that has loved God deeply, served Him faithfully, and now grapples with the quiet sorrow of feeling like a relic. You've learned to be patient. You've learned to forgive. You've learned to endure. These are the fruits of your faith. But this specific burden, this weight of being invisible, It presses down. It whispers doubts. It tempts you to withdraw, to become bitter. But you are not bitter. You are weary. You are yearning. You are a child of the Most High, and even in your twilight, you deserve to feel the warmth of His gaze, the assurance of His love, the recognition of your enduring service. You have surrendered your past. You have surrendered your present. But this final surrender, this releasing of the pain of being overlooked, it's the key to unlocking the final glorious chapter of your walk with Him. It's the surrender of the need for human affirmation, the release of the expectation that others must see your worth. It's the deep, soul-shattering understanding that your value is not determined by the applause of the crowd, but by the unwavering love of your Creator. He sees you. Even when the world does not, He hears you. Even when your voice is a whisper, He knows the depth of your heart, the sincerity of your faith, the immensity of your love. And in that sacred knowledge lies your ultimate validation, your truest worth, your most profound peace. This is the final frontier of surrender, the sacred release that prepares your soul for the radiant dawn. The world screams for connection, constant noise, endless feeds. We're drowning in it, drowning in the opinions of strangers, drowning in the shallow waters of fleeting validation. But God's call is different. It's a whisper, a gentle tug away from the chaos, a beckoning into the quiet. This is divine isolation. It sounds like a prison, doesn't it? Being alone, cut off. But look closer. See the shepherd. He guides his flock, not into a crowded marketplace, but to a peaceful pasture, a place of safety, a place where the wolf cannot reach. That's divine isolation. It's not abandonment, it's preservation. Think of the finest sculptor. He takes a rough block of marble. He doesn't invite the world to watch. He doesn't ask for opinions on every chip and chisel stroke. He retreats. He focuses. He isolates the marble from the world's distractions to reveal the masterpiece within. God does the same for us. He sets us apart, not to punish, but to perfect, to carve away the impurities, the doubts, the fears, the worldly desires that cling like dust. He needs a quiet space, a sacred chamber within your soul, where His voice can be heard, undistorted, uninterrupted. This isolation is a shield, a spiritual fortress. The enemy prowls. He seeks the vulnerable, the easily swayed, the ones lost in the clamor. But when you are set apart, you are behind fortified walls. You are in the Lord's secret garden, where His presence is your only companion. It's like a precious pearl. It doesn't form in the open sea. It forms within the oyster, protected, nurtured, separated from the rough currents, from the predators, from the debris. The pearl grows in its own quiet sanctuary. Its value comes from its seclusion. Your spiritual growth is no different. You might feel the pang of loneliness, the ache of missing the familiar, the sting of misunderstanding. But this is the crucible, where faith is forged, where character is refined, where your dependence shifts from the seen to the unseen, from the temporal to the eternal. This isn't about rejecting humanity. It's about transcending the superficial human interactions. It's about seeking a deeper communion, a divine intimacy, the kind that nourishes the soul, the kind that cannot be found in a crowded room or a bustling city. God's presence is the ultimate company. His wisdom is the ultimate counsel. His love is the ultimate fulfillment. When you embrace divine isolation, you are not losing connection. You are gaining the most profound connection of all. the connection to your Creator. He doesn't ask you to be a hermit, but He asks you to be discerning, to understand that not all fellowship is beneficial, not all noise is edifying. Sometimes the greatest progress is made in stillness, in solitude, in the hallowed silence of His presence. It's the desert experience. The prophets knew it. Jesus Himself endured it. 40 days, alone, facing the tempter, stripped bare, preparing for His mission. The wilderness was not a failure. It was the antechamber of victory. Your season of isolation might feel barren. It might feel like a drought, but it's preparing you. It's watering the deep roots of your spirit. It's allowing the seeds of His purpose to sprout, unseen, unheard, until the appointed time. The world offers comfort, a temporary balm, a distraction from the deep work. God offers transformation, a radical reorientation. It requires a willingness to step away, to be uncomfortable, to trust His process. Even when it feels like He's left you behind, He hasn't. He's right there, in the quiet, in the stillness. He's holding your hand, guiding your steps, protecting you from what you cannot see, preparing you for what He has planned. This divine isolation is a gift, a sacred space for your soul to soar. Surrender to it, and watch your spirit ascend. The world screams for connection, for validation, for belonging. We're wired for it. But in the twilight of our years, a different call echoes. A sacred solitude, divine isolation. It sounds like a curse, a punishment, a desolate wasteland. But it's not. It's a sanctuary, a holy ground. Think of the desert fathers. They fled the clamor of Rome. They sought the silence of the sands, not to escape life, but to find God, to hear His whisper above the roaring of the world. This isolation isn't about being alone. It's about being with the divine. It's a deliberate separation, a pruning of the branches, to allow the vine to flourish. Imagine a potter. He takes the clay, he centers it, he shapes it. But first he must isolate it, remove the impurities, the debris, to create something worthy of his hands. We are that clay. Our senior years are the potter's wheel. And divine isolation is the gentle pressure, the focused attention, removing the world's grit, its distractions, its idols, its protection, not punishment. The enemy thrives in the crowd, in the noise. He whispers doubts in the marketplace. He sows discord in the fellowship. But in the quiet, his voice is drowned out. Consider the eagle. It nests on the highest peak, isolated, away from the predators, away from the chaos of the plains. It's there that its young are safe. It's there that it prepares for flight. Our faith, too, needs that high ground, that sacred space, where we can shed the armor of the world, the need to impress, the pressure to perform. It's where we confront our own shadows, our own fears, not with the applause of others, but with the searing light of God's presence. This isolation allows us to see, to truly see, the illusions we chased, the fleeting pleasures we craved, the false gods we served. It's like the moon. It doesn't generate its own light. It reflects the sun. In divine isolation, we become that moon, reflecting the glory of God, shining with borrowed eternal light. We are called to be in the world, but not of it. This isolation is the refining fire that burns away the of it, leaving the pure gold of Christ within. It's a shedding, a letting go, of the need for worldly recognition, the hunger for earthly approval, the clinging to a past that has already flown. It's a surrender, not to loneliness, but to love, a love so profound it needs no echo, no applause, just its own perfect fullness. This is where the deepest intimacy is forged, where the heart beats in rhythm with the Holy Spirit, where conversations with God are not spoken but lived. It's a dismantling of the ego, a humbling of the proud spirit, a gentle invitation to kneel, to acknowledge our utter dependence. Think of a seed. It must be buried, isolated in the dark earth, to sprout, to break forth, to become the mighty oak. Our senior years are that burial, that fertile darkness, where the old self is surrendered, and the new life, the eternal life, begins its true bloom, true bloom. This is not an ending. It is a glorious beginning, a stripping away of the ephemeral, to embrace the eternal. It is the quiet before the eternal sunrise, the deep breath before the homecoming, the sacred hush before we meet our bridegroom. Embrace this divine isolation. It is the crucible, the refiner's fire, the sacred space where your soul learns to soar, where your spirit finds its truest freedom, not in the crowd, but in the communion, not in the applause, but in the adoration, not in the world's embrace, but in the Father's arms. The world will try to pull you back. It always does. It whispers promises of belonging. It paints belonging as the ultimate prize. But the Lord's design is different. Your value isn't in the crowd. It's in His gaze. Divine isolation. It sounds like loneliness. It sounds like being left behind. But it is anything but. It is a deliberate setting apart, a holy quarantine, a sacred space carved out for you. Think of the shepherd. He doesn't leave his flock to wander aimlessly. He gently guides them away from the cliff's edge, away from the hungry wolf. He separates them for their safety. He isolates them from danger. You are His precious sheep, and He is your vigilant shepherd. He sees the predators you cannot. He hears the rustle of deception in the bushes. He knows the treacherous paths disguised as shortcuts. So He calls you closer. He draws you into His fold, a fold that might feel empty to human eyes, a fold that might seem barren, but it is fertile ground for the spirit. It is a sanctuary from the storm. This is not a punishment. It is a profound protection. It is His loving hand shielding you from the shrapnel of the world's conflicts, the endless noise, the constant comparison, the soul-wearying drama. Consider a seed. It must be buried. It must be isolated in the dark earth. It must surrender its form. It must be alone to break open, to sprout, to reach for the light. Your soul is a seed. The world's soil can be toxic. It can stunt your growth. It can choke out the life within you. Divine isolation provides the pure, rich soil of His presence. It allows you to shed the expectations of others, the masks you wore, the roles you played. It strips away the superficial. It exposes the core of who you are, who He made you to be. When you are surrounded by the clamor of the world, it's hard to hear His voice, His whispers of guidance, His reassurances of love. The sheer volume drowns Him out. In the quiet stillness, His voice becomes the only sound. It resonates, it penetrates, it transforms. You learn to discern His tone, His heart, His will. This separation isn't about alienation. It's about elevation. It's about being lifted above the fray, like an eagle soaring above the battlefield. The chaos below is irrelevant. Its roar is muffled. The world celebrates the collective, the unity of the masses, but God celebrates the individual encounter, the intimate communion, the sacred dance between two souls, His and yours. This isolation is a sacred space for intimacy. It's where you truly meet Him, not as part of a congregation, not as a face in the crowd, but as the beloved daughter or son he knows by name. It's where your faith is refined, not in the fires of public opinion, but in the quiet furnace of his love. It's where your trust is deepened, not in the shifting sands of human alliances, but in the bedrock of his promises. The world will call you a hermit, a recluse. They will question your devotion. They will misunderstand your purpose. Let them. Their judgment is a worldly measure. God's evaluation is eternal. This set-apartness is his refining fire. It burns away the dross, the pride, the ego, the need for validation from anyone but him. It leaves behind pure gold, unwavering faith, unshakable peace. Think of the ark. Noah was isolated. He was set apart with his family, and the entire world drowned outside. His isolation was salvation. His separation was life. You are in the ark of his presence. The storms of life may rage. The floods of doubt may rise. But within this divine isolation, you are secure. You are protected. You are being prepared. It's in this quiet sanctuary that you learn to rely solely on his provision, on his wisdom, on his strength. You discover reserves you never knew you possessed, because they were his all along, waiting to be tapped. This is not a time for fear. This is a time for deep abiding trust, for leaning into the embrace of the one who holds all things, who knows the path ahead, who has mapped out every step. Embrace this divine isolation. See it not as an ending, but as a profound beginning, a space for deep healing, a crucible for transformation, a sacred chamber where your spirit is made ready, ready for his coming, ready for eternity. This is where true strength is forged. This is where true love is understood. This is where you become who you were always meant to be. Divine isolation. It sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? Isolation. We associate it with loneliness, with being cast out. But in the sacred heart of God, it's something else entirely. It's a sanctuary, a holy separation. Think of the ancient priests. They didn't mingle with the everyday crowd. They were set apart. Their hands were consecrated. Their minds were focused. Their lives were a testament to the divine. This wasn't a punishment. It was their purpose, their protection. Heaven is not a place for the scattered. It's a destination for the focused, the purified, the ones who have learned the art of divine isolation. When God calls you into a season of isolation, it's not a sign of his displeasure. It's a sign of his immense love. He's drawing you closer. He's shielding you from the noise, the distractions, the compromises that the world so readily offers. Consider the eagle. It soars in the highest skies. Alone, yes, but not lonely. It's in that solitude, that isolation from the earthly chaos, that it finds its strength, its clarity, its perfect vantage point. It sees things others cannot. It navigates storms with a grace born of solitude. This isolation isn't about being cut off from humanity. It's about being tuned into divinity. It's about silencing the clamor of the world to hear the whisper of the Spirit. It's about peeling back the layers of earthly attachment so that the pure light of God can shine through. When you're in this sacred space, the temptations of the world lose their power. The anxieties of life fade into insignificance. You're no longer buffeted by the winds of opinion or the tides of popular thought. You stand firm-rooted in the unshakable truth of God's presence. This isolation is a refining fire. It burns away the dross, the impurities, the things that weigh down your soul. It's a process, sometimes painful, always purposeful. Like a potter's hands shaping clay, God's isolation molds you into his perfect image. It's in these quiet chambers of the soul that revelation dawns, that understanding deepens, that your faith is tested not to break you, but to strengthen you, to make it resilient, unshakable. The world will tell you that connection is everything, that popularity is paramount, that being seen and heard by the masses is the ultimate achievement. But God's economy is different. His value system is not measured in likes or shares. It's measured in the depth of your communion with him. Divine isolation is the fertile ground where spiritual maturity takes root and blossoms. It's where you learn to feast on the Word of God, not just taste it. It's where you learn to walk by faith, not by sight. It's where you learn to discern the voice of the Good Shepherd amidst the howling of wolves. This isn't about building walls. It's about building a temple within your own heart, a sacred space where God can dwell, where his presence is your constant companion, your ultimate security. When you embrace this divine separation, you're not losing anything. You're gaining everything. You're gaining access to a power that transcends the physical, a peace that surpasses all understanding, a love that is eternal. The world fears solitude. It sees it as a void, a place of emptiness. But for the senior Christian, it is a fullness, a divine embrace, a preparation for the ultimate communion, the eternal fellowship of heaven. This isn't a time to be discouraged. It's a time to be deeply encouraged, to recognize that God's hand is upon you, that he is making you ready. He is setting you apart for his glory and for your eternal inheritance. Embrace the quiet, cherish the stillness, for in this sacred isolation, you are being made whole. You are being prepared for a glory you cannot yet imagine, a glory that awaits those who have learned to surrender all, especially the fear of being alone. Because in God's presence, you are never truly alone. You are divinely held, eternally cherished, and perfectly prepared. The world screams for connection. We crave belonging, but the Father has a different plan. He calls us to a sacred solitude, a divine isolation. It's not a prison sentence. It's a sanctuary. Think of the desert fathers. They fled the clamor of cities. They sought the stark beauty of barren lands, not to be alone, but to be found by him. In the silence, they heard his voice, the loudest voice in the universe. This isolation is a refining fire. It burns away the dross, the need for applause, the yearning for earthly validation. It strips us bare until only his love remains, a pure, unadulterated truth. It's a crucible where faith is forged, where character is sculpted, where the soul learns to stand on its own 2 feet, rooted in him, unwavering, unshaken. The enemy thrives in the crowd. He whispers doubts. He sows discord. He uses other people as his tools. But in divine isolation, his voice is drowned out. His tactics are rendered powerless. You are set apart, like a pearl of great price, hidden from the casual glance, reserved for the discerning eye. His eye. It's a spiritual fortress. Walls built, not of stone, but of his presence. A place where the storms of life rage, but cannot penetrate. A haven, a refuge. Consider the ark, a vessel built for separation, floating alone on a turbulent sea. Yet it carried the seeds of new life. It was protected, preserved. This solitude is not punishment. It is protection. A shepherd gathering his flock, moving them away from the wolves to a pasture of peace, a place of spiritual safety. It's where intimacy blossoms, a deep abiding communion with the Creator, where the bride learns the heart of her bridegroom, uninterrupted, unveiled. We are called to be in the world, but not of it. This divine isolation is the very mechanism for that separation. It's the sacred space where we learn to live differently, to love differently, to be differently. It's the potter's wheel. The clay is spun, shaped, made perfect, away from the dust of the marketplace, in the quiet of the studio. When you are truly alone with God, you discover your true self, the self He created, the self He loves, the self He is molding. This is where the deepest healing occurs. The wounds of the past, the scars of betrayal, they are exposed, cleaned, made whole, under His gentle touch. It's the eagle's eyrie, high above the earth, observing the world from a different perspective. Powerful, majestic, unburdened. This sacred separation builds resilience. It strengthens the spirit. It teaches us to depend, not on human strength, not on worldly wisdom, but on His inexhaustible supply. The world offers fleeting companionship, a comfort that crumbles. Divine isolation offers an eternal anchor, a bond that cannot be broken. It's the seed buried in the ground. It must be alone to die, to sprout, to bring forth a harvest, a necessary death to self, a resurrection into His purpose. When He calls you to this place, do not resist, do not fear, embrace it. It is His loving embrace, His protective hand, guiding you closer to Him and to your true destiny. This is not loneliness. This is divine intimacy. This is not abandonment. This is sacred placement. This is the Father's whisper, calling you home, to yourself, in Him, the final leg of the journey. It's not about more striving. It's about letting go. Many seniors cling to the old ways, to familiar comfort, to a perceived control they never truly possessed. This is the sacred surrender, the ultimate release. It's the spiritual mission you haven't been told about, the one whispered in the quiet moments, the one that begins when the world outside fades. Darkness descends, not an ending, a crucible. In the shadows, true power is forged. It's not the power of the world. No loud pronouncements, no grand displays. It's the quiet strength of resilience, the unyielding faith that blooms in adversity, the deep knowing that transcends circumstance. Think of the ancient trees. Their roots go deepest in the storm. Their branches bend, but they do not break. They have weathered countless seasons. Their power is in their endurance. Their wisdom is etched in their bark. Your years have been your storms, your trials, your wins. Each hardship has sculpted you. Each loss has refined you. The spiritual mission now is to embrace this sculpting, to acknowledge the masterpiece you are becoming. Not in spite of the darkness, but because of it. This inner power is not earned through achievement. It is revealed through surrender. It is unearthed in the stillness. When the noise of life quiets, when the demands of the world recede, that's when you hear it. The divine hum, the whisper of purpose. This is where your mission truly ignites. Not to conquer new territories, but to inhabit your soul, to become fully present in the sacred space within. The darkness was never meant to crush you. It was meant to reveal you, to strip away the pretense, to expose the core of your being. Your greatest battles were fought within, your most profound victories won in silence. You learned to trust the unseen, to lean into the unknown. This is the power of the Spirit. It thrives when the flesh weakens. It shines brightest when the world grows dim. You have carried burdens. You have fought battles. You have loved fiercely. You have grieved deeply. All of it has prepared you. Now, the mission shifts. It's about radiating, about becoming a beacon. Not through effort, but through being. The surrender is not an act of defeat. It's an act of profound trust. It's handing over the reins, not to chance, but to grace. It's understanding that your strength isn't in holding on. It's in knowing when to release, to let the divine current carry you. This inner power developed in the darkness is your greatest asset. It's your legacy. It's the light you will pass on. It's the quiet wisdom that calms a troubled soul. It's the unwavering peace that steadies a trembling hand. It's the unconditional love that heals a broken heart. You have learned to find God in the wilderness, to hear His voice in the silence, to feel His presence in the emptiness. This is the essence of your spiritual mission, to embody that presence, to be a living testament to His enduring love. The world needs this power. The younger generations crave this authenticity. They see through the superficial. They yearn for the real. And you, my friends, are the embodiment of the real, forged in the fires of experience, tempered by the storms of life. Your surrender is not an end. It is a transformation. It is the blossoming of a soul that has known hardship and emerged with grace. Release the need to prove. Release the desire to control. Release the fear of the unknown. Embrace the mystery. Embrace the surrender. Embrace the power that has been growing within you, unseen, unheard until now. This is your sacred mission: to be, to love, to shine, and in that shining, to illuminate the path for others. The darkness was your teacher. The surrender is your liberation. And the power you now possess is the purest form of divine love. It's time to let it flow, freely, uninhibited, to touch everything it encounters. This is the final, most profound mission, the one that defines a life lived in faith, the one that echoes into eternity. The veil thins, the air crackles with unseen energy. This is the precipice, the edge of all you have known. Your earthly mission nears its end, but a higher calling beckons, a spiritual purpose forged in the crucible of your faith. You have walked with God. You have wrestled with doubt. You have known the sting of betrayal and the balm of forgiveness. Each trial, a lesson. Each scar, a testament to your strength. You have been refined, burnished like gold in the fires of adversity. This is not the time for regret, nor for clinging to the familiar. The world you leave behind will fade, but the essence of your spirit will endure. This is your sacred surrender, the release of the ego, the shedding of worldly attachments, the letting go of the need to control. Your power was not born in the light alone. It was forged in the deepest shadows, in the silent hours of prayer, when the darkness pressed in and you felt utterly alone. That is where your true strength was found, in the unwavering belief. When all else failed, you discovered an inner wellspring, a reservoir of divine power, unseen by mortal eyes, but felt in the very marrow of your bones. This power, it is not for conquest, nor for personal gain. It is for service, for the divine will, to be a conduit, a vessel for something greater. You have carried burdens. You have fought battles, some visible, many unseen, against forces that sought to dim your light. But you persevered, you endured, and in that endurance you found your mission, to be a beacon, a whisper of truth in a world of noise, to offer comfort, to share wisdom, to plant seeds of hope, even as your own earthly journey concludes. Your spiritual mission transcends time. It echoes through eternity. The darkness was not an enemy. It was a forge, a place of transformation, where your spirit was tempered and your resolve hardened. You learned to see without eyes, to hear without ears, to know without questioning. This is the power developed in the darkness, a profound intuition, a deep connection to the divine. It is the quiet knowing, the unshakable peace. You are ready to release the earthly, to embrace the eternal. Your life's work is not over. It is simply changing form, from the tangible to the intangible, from the physical to the spiritual. This is the ultimate act of faith, to trust the unseen, to surrender to the flow, to know that your light will continue to shine in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Your legacy is not in possessions, nor in accolades. It is in the lives you have touched, the love you have shared, the faith you have embodied. This is the sacred surrender, the final release as you step across the threshold into the boundless expanse. Your spiritual mission unfolds, your inner power a guiding star. You are more than your body, more than your experiences. You are a spark of the divine, and that spark will never be extinguished. Prepare yourself. The greatest journey awaits. The true mission begins in the silence, in the light, in the endless love. You are ready. This is the crucible, where faith is forged in the fire, where the soul is stripped bare, and the true mission is revealed. You've carried burdens, wrestled doubts, faced the void, and found a light within, a silent power, born from the deepest night. This isn't about escaping hardship. It's about embracing the storm, learning to dance in the tempest, to find your footing when the ground crumbles. This is the spiritual mission, the unwritten mandate of the ages. It began in the shadows, in the lonely hours, when prayers felt like whispers lost in the wind, when the silence screamed louder than any doubt. That's where the power grew, a hidden reservoir, fed by resilience, tempered by tears. You thought it was about conquering, about victory parades, about grand pronouncements. It's far more profound. It's about surrender, a sacred release, a letting go that is more powerful than any grip. The darkness was not your enemy. It was your teacher. It carved strength into your spirit. It etched wisdom onto your soul. It taught you the language of perseverance, the rhythm of hope against all odds. Think of the desert fathers, the hermits in their caves. They didn't seek comfort. They sought truth. And in the starkness, they found an inner kingdom, a dominion that no external force could touch. That is the power you now possess. It's not a loud power. It doesn't boast. It simply is a quiet knowing, a steady flame that refuses to be extinguished. It's the echo of 1,000 battles fought within. This inner power honed in the solitude is your spiritual weapon. It's the unseen shield, the silent sword. It's the ability to stand firm when others falter, to offer a hand when the world feels lost, to be a beacon in the encroaching gloom. You were chosen for this, not for ease, but for endurance, not for applause, but for authenticity. The darkness didn't break you. It remade you into something stronger, something more luminous. This is the essence of your mission, to carry the light you found in the abyss, to share the peace that bloomed in the desolation, to demonstrate that even in the deepest night, the dawn is inevitable, and you are its harbinger. This power is your inheritance, your sacred trust, developed in the silence, forged in the struggle. It is the core of your being, the undeniable truth of your spiritual journey, and it is ready to be released, ready to be shared, ready for the final ascent, the final climb. It's not about the destination, it's about the shedding, the sacred surrender. What must be released? Everything you clung to, every fear, every doubt, every worldly ambition that dimmed the light within. Heaven doesn't ask for your resume, it asks for your heart, bared, open, raw. Think of the spiritual mission. It's not a grand parade, it's a quiet war waged in the soul, a battle against the shadows. The darkness you faced wasn't punishment, it was forge, a crucible where your true strength was hammered into existence. Remember those nights, the ones where sleep offered no solace, where the silence screamed louder than any crowd. That was the training ground, the divine dissection. God was not absent. He was in the core of the struggle, teaching you resilience, imprinting perseverance. You learned to breathe when the air felt stolen. You learned to see when vision blurred with tears. You learned to trust an unseen hand when the earth beneath you crumbled. That wasn't weakness. That was the genesis of inner power, a power forged in the fires of adversity. This power isn't loud. It doesn't boast. It resides in the quiet confidence that whispers, "I have endured." It's the stillness in the storm, the unshakable peace when chaos surrounds. It's the deep knowing that even in the abyss, you were never alone. This mission, this spiritual journey, demanded everything. It stripped away the superficial. It peeled back the layers of pretense. It forced you to confront the parts of yourself you tried to hide, even from God. And in that confrontation, you found liberation. The darkness showed you the resilience of your spirit. It proved your capacity for grace. It illuminated the unwavering light that burns within a light that no shadow can extinguish. This is the power you developed. This is the treasure you unearthed. You carry it now, not as a trophy, but as a testament, a living testament to the trials overcome, to the faith tested and not broken, to the surrender that paved the way for true strength. This is the essence of the sacred surrender, releasing the need for earthly validation, letting go of the urge to control, embracing the divine orchestration even when the steps are unclear. Your spiritual mission was never about winning the world, it was about winning yourself. The darkness didn't break you, it remade you. It sculpted you into something stronger, something purer, something ready for the next, the final phase, the eternal homecoming. You learned to walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil. Not because the valley disappeared, but because you discovered the power within that made you fearless. This is the legacy of the struggle. This is the sacred gift of the darkness. It's the quiet understanding that the greatest battles are fought within, and the greatest victories are won when you lay down your arms and trust the master strategist. Your spiritual mission has prepared you. Your inner power is your shield. The surrender is the final act of courage. It's the ultimate declaration of faith. It's the letting go of all that weighs you down so you can finally ascend. Your journey has been arduous, but it has been purposeful. Every tear, every struggle, every moment of doubt was a step closer to this liberation. You are not the same person who began this journey. You are tempered. You are refined. You are ready. The inner power you discovered in the darkness is the fuel for your ascent. The sacred surrender is the key that unlocks the gates. Heaven, it's the ultimate destination, the reward. But getting there, that's the journey. And some journeys require a shedding, a release. Before you can truly embrace the light, you must confront the shadows. Not just acknowledge them, but surrender to them. Let them carve you, refine you. This isn't about defeat. It's about a different kind of victory, a spiritual mission. It's about understanding the power forged in the crucible of your own darkness. Think of the great figures, the prophets, the apostles. Their faith wasn't born in comfort. It was hammered into existence through trials, through doubt, through profound loss. They learned to trust, not in their own strength, but in something far greater. A divine whisper, a guiding hand, even when the path was obscured, even when the storm raged. This inner power, it doesn't come from avoiding hardship. It's cultivated by enduring it, by walking through the fire, by refusing to be consumed. You've faced your Goliaths. You've wrestled your demons. You've navigated the valleys of despair. Each scar is a testament, each tear a baptism. These experiences, they are not random. They are the building blocks of your spiritual fortitude. They are the raw materials for the mission you were sent here to fulfill. You were not meant to live a life untouched by struggle. You were meant to be shaped by it, to be molded by the pressures of this world, to emerge stronger, wiser, more compassionate. The darkness, it teaches humility. It strips away ego. It reveals the fragility of human pride. It forces you to look inward, to find the wellspring of resilience you never knew existed. That resilience, that quiet strength, that unwavering hope even in the face of oblivion. That is your spiritual mission. That is the power you carry. It's the power to forgive, even when wronged. The power to love, even when hurt. The power to persevere, even when exhausted. This is not a passive faith. This is an active, dynamic force. It's the result of 1,000 small surrenders, 1,000,000 quiet battles won. You must release the need for control, the illusion of certainty, the fear of the unknown. These are anchors that bind you to the earthly realm. They prevent you from soaring. Embrace the mystery. Trust the process. Know that every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every fall, a chance to rise higher. Your spiritual mission is not to conquer the world. It is to conquer yourself, to master the inner landscape, to find peace amidst the chaos. The power you seek is not external. It resides within you. It's been there all along, waiting for you to acknowledge it, to unleash it. This power, it's the quiet knowing, the deep intuition, the ability to see beyond the veil of illusion, to discern truth from falsehood. It's the love that transcends all understanding, the compassion that embraces all creation, the grace that sees the divine in every soul. This is the inheritance of the faithful, the fruit of a life lived in pursuit of the sacred, the reward for embracing the darkness, for finding the light within it. You are a vessel, purified by trials, strengthened by adversity, ready for the next phase, ready for the ultimate homecoming. Release what holds you back. Let go of the old narratives. the limiting beliefs, the weight of past regrets. Step into your power. Step into your purpose. Step into the fullness of who you were created to be. The mission continues. The inner fire burns brighter. The surrender is complete. Heaven awaits. But the journey has made you ready. The final chapter unfolds, not of endings, but of awakenings. You stand at the precipice. Heaven beckons, but a sacred surrender is required, a release, a shedding of the earthly self. Think of it as a warrior's final armor. Heavy, clunky, once protective, now a burden. You must unbuckle each strap, let it fall. This is the spiritual mission, not one of conquest, but of deep internal transformation, a journey into the very core of your being. The darkness you faced, the trials, the storms that raged, they were not punishments. They were crucibles, forging something new, something potent. Remember the nights you felt lost, the valleys so deep no light seemed to penetrate. That was where your power grew, unseen, unheard, but undeniable. Every tear shed watered a seed of resilience. Every doubt wrestled strengthened your resolve. Every moment of weakness embraced became a wellspring of divine strength. This inner power, it's not the thunderous roar of a lion. It's the quiet, unshakable force of a mountain, enduring, steadfast. It's the wisdom etched into your soul by hardship, the compassion born from shared suffering, the unwavering faith that bloomed in barren ground. You learn to trust the unseen, to navigate by an inner compass, to find solace in the silence. This is the essence of your spiritual mission. It's about reclaiming your divine inheritance, not a kingdom of gold and jewels, but a kingdom of peace, of understanding, of love. You carried burdens for so long, the weight of expectations, the chains of regret, the whispers of inadequacy. It's time to lay them down. This is not a sign of defeat. It is the ultimate act of victory, to release what no longer serves your ascension. The spiritual mission continues. It shifts, it deepens. It requires a new kind of courage, the courage to be utterly, completely, and beautifully vulnerable. To embrace the mystery, to surrender control, to trust the divine plan unfolding, even when it makes no sense to your earthly mind. The power forged in darkness is now your illumination. It guides you, it protects you, it empowers you for this final leg of your journey. This is not a passive waiting. It is an active letting go, a conscious release, a profound acceptance. You are not defined by your struggles, but by how you rose from them, by the light you carry within. That light, it was always there, dimmed by fear, obscured by doubt, but never extinguished. The darkness was the silencer of the world. It forced you to listen to your own soul, to the whisper of the divine. And in that stillness, you heard it, the truth of who you are. A child of God, loved, forgiven, redeemed. This spiritual mission is your magnum opus, your final, glorious act of faith. You are more than your body, more than your memories, more than your earthly accomplishments. You are pure spirit, ready to return home. But only after the sacred surrender, only after you've shed the last vestiges of attachment. The inner power developed in the darkness is your strength now, your unwavering beacon. It's the quiet knowing, the deep peace, the unshakable conviction that all is well. This is the essence of your readiness. Not perfection, but surrender. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need to hold on. Embrace the release. It is your freedom. It is your ascension. The spiritual mission reaches its apex, not in grand pronouncements, but in a whispered prayer, a grateful sigh. You are ready, not because you have achieved everything, but because you have surrendered everything. The darkness was your teacher, the pain your guide, the surrender your salvation. Feel the power surge, not of the flesh, but of the spirit, untamed, unbound. This is the culmination, the divine homecoming, made possible by the sacred surrender. Your inner power, a radiant testament to the battles fought, to the lessons learned, to the God within. The journey was long, the path arduous, but the destination is glorious. Prepare for the final release, the ultimate freedom, the sacred surrender. The mission isn't about comfort, it's about fire, a burning purpose. You thought this journey was about ease. It was never meant to be. Heaven calls to the tested, to those who have wrestled, who have faced the abyss within. Darkness has its own power. It carves you, it refines you, it strips away the superficial, leaving only the core, the unyielding spirit. This is where your mission truly begins. Not in the spotlight, not in accolades, but in the crucible, where faith is forged, where resilience is born. You have carried burdens. You have known loss. These are not setbacks. They are training grounds, each scar a testament, each tear a seed planted. The enemy wants you to believe defeat. He whispers lies in the quiet. He magnifies your doubts. He feeds on your fear. But you have a power they cannot comprehend. It was forged in the silence, in the moments you felt most alone. It's the quiet strength, the unwavering resolve, the knowledge that you are never truly alone, even when the shadows lengthen, even when the path disappears. This spiritual mission, it's not a gentle stroll, it's a climb, a relentless ascent, through trials that would break lesser souls,